Do we know what the format's going to be in regards to live tackling, offense versus defense, or two teams that are divided?
Yeah, so my understanding is that it's essentially going to be a simulated game, and the coaches are going to draft a, I don't know if they're calling it a red and white team, a crimson and cream team, something along those lines. But basically, there will be two teams that are handpicked by the coaches that are going at each other in a simulated game environment. Last year's format was wacky. I don't remember exactly how it all went down. I think Lincoln Riley had the defense start with like 24 points, and then there was some bizarre scoring system where you could earn points, but you could also have points deducted if you gave up a first down or your drive stalled, something along those lines. So it should be much easier for the fans to comprehend this year. And that's really what it's about. Like I said, Mark, this is for the fans more so than anything else. It's for them to get excited about what their team looks like heading into the fall.
What might be easier for the fans to comprehend as well is that my take is that Brent Venables is a little bit more accommodating to the media, seems to take the time to explain what's going on, what his approach is, what his mindset is, seems to be a lot more forthcoming, and that's got to make your job easier.
Well, it does, Mark. It makes our jobs a lot easier. And it's night and day different. And that's not an exaggeration at all, because with Lincoln Riley, I mean, it's just kind of how he's wired. It's not a dig at him necessarily. It's just how he's wired. You'd get 30 minutes of press conference with Lincoln Riley. Once his time was up, he'd walk off the podium. And in that time, he'd answer 10 or 12 questions very succinctly and in concise fashion. And he'd tell you exactly what you needed to know. And that was that. With Brent Venables, he'll be on the podium for an hour and a half, and he'll maybe end up fielding 8 or 9 questions just because he's going into complete exhaustive detail with every single answer that you give. And not only that, but it's like the old adage from The Office, the infamous quote from Michael Scott, Mark. Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. It seems like that's Brent Venables' train of thought sometimes, because he'll start talking about one guy and it'll lead to a conversation about another guy, and he'll want to heap praise on this other guy that's also in the positional group, which is awesome. I understand for fans that want to sit down and be able to watch the full press conferences and see what their head coach has to say about everything, it's probably less digestible. But the amount of storylines and the amount of verifiable information, not just coach speak, that you get out of stuff like that is invaluable to media members like myself and my colleagues on the beat.
And it's probably pretty clear to both of us and everybody else that besides that, there's no other comparison to make between the head of the office and the head of Oklahoma football. They're very much different otherwise, no question.